Welcome to
Separate Bathrooms and other handy marriage tips.
Hello there and welcome to Separate Bathrooms and other handy marriage tips. My name's Cam Daddo and this is my wife.
Ali Daddo. Thanks for the intro, honey. Sure, this is a podcast about relationships. We started this podcast because we wanted to share our relationship and we wanted to share information about relationships, whether it's with yourself, with your partner, with your kids, with your dogs, with your country, whatever it is. We thought we'd bring some information to see if it helps anyone out there.
There you go. So this week we're talking about what if you can't get home for Christmas?
Relationship to country, I'd say this
Oh, you
one's
think
about.
so?
Yeah.
Or state?
Yeah, or actually friends or family, really, isn't it? It's that homesick feeling. I had a DM, someone slid into my DMs, as
What,
they
a deep
say.
and meaningful?
Yeah, totally.
Right.
A message on Instagram from a lovely lady who was saying she's in Vegas, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry she's in Vegas.
And she's really homesick for Australia. And she said, are there any tips about how to feel more connected and what do you do for homesickness? And I thought, well, we both were like, that's a great topic because I think there's a lot of people out there who's probably pretty homesick right now.
Yeah, especially through this year. It's been a very interesting year this year.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm not going to say, I mean, I keep reading it's been a hard year, it's been this and that, but it's just been. You know, it's been an experience, hasn't it? I mean, if you put a good or bad label to anything, it's just been what it is, and we've dealt with it the way we've dealt with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thankfully, things are starting to open up within this country anyway.
I know, we're lucky. We are lucky here. Yeah. Well, homesickness in its definition is basically an acute form of anxiety or emotional distress that results from feeling disconnected from familiar people and places and forced out of your regular routine. I know I've felt homesick.
I think we can tick every box there.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, we've often talked about this over this COVID time, that if we were in America where we were for 25 years, how desperately homesick for Australia we would have felt because we would have wanted to be with our family, particularly our parents. And I really relate to that feeling of homesickness a lot.
And also takes me back to the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney when we were watching. Remember that? We were watching that opening ceremony.
Yeah. In
our living room and just looking at each other going, why aren't we there?
I know.
And I mean, it wasn't possible because River had just been born and all that sort of business. But I remember feeling a bit that way. But not a bit that way. Very, very homesick.
Yeah.
With all that was going on. And FOMO.
Oh, so much FOMO. Oh, so many tears. I'm getting to watch it again recently, though. How good was that when they did the 20th anniversary of the Games and getting to rewatch it as we were sitting in Australia?
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was like I'd never seen it before, actually.
Yeah, truly.
That's my old man memory now. But
even though, because we were in America, America only shows American athletes.
Correct.
Whereas, Australia, of course, they're going to focus on the Australian athletes, but you do get to see other athletes perform. But America, you only see the Americans. You don't see anyone else.
America and everyone else.
It's like, where are the Aussies?
Yeah.
Anyway, it was good. So look, we've drummed up some good tips, I think, for homesickness. So I really hope this helps anyone out there who might be feeling that way, or if you know someone who's homesick, share these with them.
Yeah, the first one that you pulled up, Al, is create a family newsletter. And I think that's a fantastic idea. So, the newsletter serves as a monthly update about what you're doing in your expat life, or share your work experiences, photos, videos, talk about what it's like, the pros and cons, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I think a family newsletter is a great idea. I'm also a huge fan of the end of year letter, which Americans do.
Yeah.
The end of year update sort of thing. I love that. Particularly, I have my favourites, because they're such good writers and they're interesting.
But you've done a few. You've done quite a few.
Yeah, I have done a few. I've taken the cue from the people that I like when I do it, and I think it's a great idea because, if especially with you've got social media as well. that will help. But it's for those people that don't have the social media. Like my father's not a social media guy.
Right.
But if you send him an email with all the info on it, he loves it. He
First to
devours
respond.
those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the same as, another one is the virtual get-togethers. Look, we've been doing that through COVID anyway, these sort of Zoom meetings. And of course, that's always a great way if everyone's up on that. We tried it with my mum and dad. They're in separate houses, and we could get dad onto Zoom. Oh, only because the next door neighbour got him hooked up onto it. But my dear old mum, nah, we couldn't get her on. We couldn't get there. We couldn't get anyone to help her. So, it's a little tricky.
One of those videos where she's just sitting right in front of that computer screen, and she's going, oh, well, if I do that, press that button and the hand goes into the camera. That hasn't done it. She hasn't realised she's recorded the whole thing.
Oh, she's so sweet. Yeah. So, but if you can, obviously, the online get-togethers are fantastic.
Postcards and letters, old school. Go for snail mail because it's such a surprise when you receive them.
I love a handwritten letter. Love it.
I was going to say, it reminded me of the time when I was working on the other side of the country. I was in Toronto, and you're in LA, and Lotus was a little kid. Lotus is our eldest daughter, so she was a little one. And one thing that I did was drew my handprint on pieces of paper and send them back, and then she would colour in my handprint. So she would just sit there doing that. So she had all these pieces of paper with my handprints on them. I thought that would be a really cool idea. You could make Christmas tree ornaments out of handprints from your rallies, overseas. Send them your handprints. They colour them in Christmassy colours and hang them from the tree. You could almost, I guess, create a shortcut for them and cut them out, and put pieces of string on them. So they're already done that way.
Yep.
And so your hands are all, your family's hands are all over the tree.
Yeah. I mean, how beautiful would that be as you've got the gifts under the tree, and then you're looking at the tree and you're like, oh, there's Joe who's in Germany right now. That's his hand. And there's Sally from LA. She's got her hand on the tree, or make a garland or whatever you want.
You could do it with feet too, I suppose, in footprints.
Could.
It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Hang 10 on the Christmas tree. But I remember coming home one day and there was Lotus on the floor colouring in my handprints, and I'm like, I'm here. I put my hand on it, and she was so into colouring in. She was like, "Hi, Dada," and just I'm colouring in. Yeah, I know you're colouring in my hands. Yeah. Hi, Dada. Bye now. Bye, Dada. Okay, sweetheart.
Well, it's finding those ways, isn't it, to make those connections. You also used to do something with Lotus that we set up where you would read a book. What was it back in those days? Was it a tape recording?
Oh, it was all taped.
It was all tape, yeah. So it was on tape. So you would read a book onto cassette tapes, and then I would play it to Lolo at night. So you would still read to her at night from these cassette tapes.
Yeah, I loved making those. I used to spend ages sitting in my room just, what else can I put on there? And I'd try and put as much variety in as I possibly could so that I keep her attention a little bit longer.
It was a precursor to Smooth FM, really, wasn't it, for you?
Maybe it was.
Oh, it was. Well, my dad, who is not in radio, he was a high court magistrate. He used to do something really special with our two eldest kids, because by the time the third one came along, the two eldest ones were a bit over it. But it was years of this. My dad did it. He would actually call from his work, from his office in Sydney, and we'd put my dad on speakerphone, and I'd set the kids up with snacks, and my father would just regale them with these made-up stories. And they had a list of characters. The three of them had a list of characters. And, of course, my two kids would, because it's their children and their memory is amazing, they would remember what Pa would have said last week. So they'd say, Pa, okay, the fish is doing this and the red-eyed demon's doing that. And right. And my father's imagination is brilliant. So, and that would go on for an hour at a time. I would get to go and have a cup of tea, put my feet up, I'd make dinner. And meanwhile, Pa's babysitting the kids in the other room from across the world. It was just so beautiful. And it created such a connection with my dad that was just undeniable and still really exists today.
Yeah, and not to mention his work associates.
Yeah, that's right.
Who still today go, I used to work in an office with your father or your father-in-law, they'd say to me, and he would tell these stories to your children and we would stop work and listen to his stories.
Yeah. It was so sweet.
What about the T-shirt you gave him? Ali gave him a T-shirt called the world's greatest storyteller written on the T-shirt. And there was this one day he was wearing the T-shirt in LA and he went to a mall and he sat down, he was having a coffee and a woman walks up and says, is it true? And he said, is what true, madam? Is it true? What's your T-shirt? Are you the world's greatest storyteller? And he's like, well, I'm pretty good. Tell me a story. So he did.
He did. He told them one of the stories that he would tell to the kids. Oh, it's so sweet.
Well, the story sucked, but I love your accent. Something that you used to do a lot when we were away was send gifts back home.
Yeah.
You would always create a collection of presents that were local, you know, and a bit of Americana, send them back to Australia. That's a great one to do, is find gifts that are local to where you're living and kind of your life and send those back. Doesn't matter if they don't like them, but...
Well, how popular were the UCLA sweatshirts and T-shirts we used to send back here? We had request upon request for American football jersey, stuff like that. And that was fun. It was so lovely to know that they were receiving them and then you'd get a photograph of them in it or whatever it was. That was a beautiful way to feel connected.
Yeah, I forgot about that. The UCLA paraphernalia. I'd go to the UCLA store and pick up the cups and the mouse pads and
yeah.
Then, of course, the T-shirts and wind cheaters.
Absolutely. And another nice way, you know, if you're feeling homesick, is to document what the positive moments are. You know, it's very easy to get lost sometimes in the negative feelings and, you know, what you're missing out on, what you're not having, and maybe writing a list of these are the positive things I'm having right now, you know, whether it's a new friend or, you know, finding something positive in your life right now and writing them down and maybe sending them back home so they know that you're having some positive experiences too.
Yeah. There's a note here saying if you're grumpy all the time, carry a notebook with you because you're bound to have some positive moments in there at some point. And that said, homesickness that's a real thing. And I think we've all experienced homesickness. So if you share your feelings about it, then maybe they'll share their feelings about it and you sort of go, oh, don't feel so bad.
Yeah, I think most people can relate on some level at some point, even if it's going back to, you know, camp days when you were a little kid and feeling homesick. Back then when you were only maybe 2 hours away from home. I remember being really homesick on those school camps. Just didn't like them. Our middle kid, Riv, oh boy, how much did he hate those camps, sleepaway camps. Hated every trip that he ever had to do away from us. And
it was so funny because Bodhi, our youngest, went away on a school camp not that long ago and River's going, I hated that. Yeah. And she didn't want to go because it was rain and bad weather forecast into cold sort of bivouacy tents and things like that. Do I have to go? Yes. Yeah, you do. You have to go and you'll come back with awesome memories.
I know.
It's going to be great.
I know. It's so fun, all those trips. Look, there's this great list we found as well. You do need to have some kind of technology or computer connection for this one, but boy, they could be super fun. Our family went to New Zealand not that long ago. Well, I say not that long ago, well before COVID. And in the place that we were staying at was a deck of Cards Against Humanity. Now, this is you. I'm fairly politically correct, as I try to be. These cards are so beyond.
Not.
Beyond not. But they sure did make us laugh. And you can actually play an online game of Cards Against Humanity and be ready for some of the most wicked questions and how you play it and everything. And the idea is to come up with like basically the most non-politically correct answer. So that's a really fun one. And getting to laugh with people together across the world, that's a great connection.
It
always.
is. It is. I'm just surprised. I didn't realize all these. What we'll say, so many apps for games like Cluedo.
Yeah,
or it's
I
called,
didn't know that either.
Yeah, in America, Cluedo is called Clue. So it's the Clue app. So it's basically that game. It was Mr. Plum in the dining room with a candlestick. That game. You can play that as an app with a group of people.
Yeah, that'd be super fun.
Monopoly. As an app. There's an app for Monopoly.
Yep.
Uno online.
Love Uno. I love this one. I've never heard about this. This is called Netflix Party, which lets multiple users watch a TV show or a movie at the same time. So Netflix Party is a new feature that can be added as a Google Chrome browser extension. And once it's been downloaded, a Netflix user can host a party by inviting friends, family members, co-workers, or anyone they'd like to watch a TV show or movie with at the same time. And members of the virtual party can also talk via a chat box as a way of sharing commentary throughout the film or episode. So, like, what's that? You put your Love Actually on for your Christmas movie and everyone sits and watches it together.
Now, when you say the chat box, is that a type-in box? So it's a comment. It's typing. You can't, because there are some people I cannot watch TV with.
I know,
because they comment every 30 seconds on something.
True.
If it was commented as a chat box.
I don't know. I assumed it was a written thing. That was my assumption. I might be wrong.
That would be really
then you'd have
some people have great comments.
You'd have to mute the chat box maybe if it was a talking one. Though, what's your favorite Christmas movie that you used to all watch together as a kid? If it's Sound of Music or Elf. Oh, how good is Elf? We watch Elf every year for Christmas.
Yeah. Well, Love Actually is another one.
It's my favourite.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah.
But Elf is a great one. Yeah, no, I think that would be really fun to do. And I'm not sure what's happening this Christmas. I think we do get to see our family this year. I think hopefully the borders will be open. It's more really with the overseas guys that we won't be able to.
Yeah, I think internally we'll be okay, though. Yeah, those who can't come home, it's tough.
Yeah. This is a great way to come together, though, isn't it, with a Netflix party? The other one is host a trivia night over a video call. I know there's been a few of those going on through COVID, but there's the Jeopardy app as well, which you can get. I think that is creating your own buzzer rather.
Yep. Anytime I think you play a game, it's one of those natural connections that immediately happen if you're having fun playing a game across the world. Now, you've written something down here, and it's called Play Guess the Sound. Send your friends a recording of a sound and get them to guess what it is. Now, I know you all too well, and I can only imagine how many fart sounds
obvious
that you would send.
No, too obvious. No. I mean, aside from being really funny, like at the moment, one of our cars, when you turn it off, the air conditioning system has this automatic closure of all the vents, right? And it happens about 45 seconds after you shut the car off. And that sounds like a fart.
Yeah.
So if I'm in talking to someone on the speakerphone, all you hear is, I mean, not that my farts sound like that, but...
No one needs to know what your farts sound like.
But they just... That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. That's it.
And it's like, oh my God. And I remember sitting in there doing it was a Zoom call with someone, and I had to pull over to do the Zoom call turn the car off and, 45 seconds later I'm into it and then suddenly... can you hear that? No, I can't hear any of it. It's actually, I was doing an interview with David Campbell and...
Oh, really? And you fart. Oh, that's
and
right.
The
the
whole
fart
thing's farting
sound.
away.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So, guess this sound.
Guess this sound.
But, I mean, that's that radio thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? So we do it on Smooth Secret Sound. What is it,
Right.
know? And it would be fun. You create your
would
own
be fun.
sound. Like the water going into a saucepan sounds like Darth Vader's starfighter. It goes... I mean, it's an amazing sound.
Really?
I reckon that's where the Foley guys got it from.
Water going into a saucepan.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah. It might be a certain type of saucepan, a certain steel, but it
Yeah.
just sounds like Darth Vader's fighter,
Okay.
not his farter.
You are my farter.
Yeah, but I think that would be really fun to do a secret sound competition. You have to make them a little bit easy so you can get through a few so everyone gets to have a sound and have it discovered
Yeah.
in the same city would be great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, there's something that you can do as well, which while we all can't travel, this might be a really fun one, or travel overseas, this might be a really fun one. You can actually share your computer screen with friends. And what happens, you virtually take a group trip to a world landmark. So you can go to the Grand Canyon or you can go to Paris and you can explore landmarks around the world without actually leaving home, and you take your family with you.
I think that is the best idea. See,
Yeah.
I would love to... Your father's a great traveller.
Yeah.
Right? So to have your dad take me on a virtual tour of, like you used the example of the Louvre, have him take you around the Louvre, and he would venture into stories that his experiences have been there. So you'd have all the stories of him being there and you'd be seeing the paintings and he'd probably be able to explain stuff like that to you. And the same with Mum, my mum.
Yep.
With her trip. Oh, this is Machu Picchu and this is what we did here and that's where Lou fell over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that is the most awesome idea.
Yeah. Or what about a place that no one's been to that you're all just, okay, let's go left down here. I don't know if you have control of it like that, but, going to the Tower of London together and you've never been to the Tower of London or wherever it is, just traveling that way together. It would feel like you've really taken an adventure.
It's amazing that they offer it, that you can do stuff like that. Like we could take our family to the Grand Canyon and go, oh, that's where we rode the donkey.
That's right.
The mule, rather.
Yeah.
Don't have donkeys in the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
It's famous for mules.
Yeah.
The horse's ass.
Your mum and aunt
My mum and Lou.
did a great idea during COVID. I thought, in fact, it's probably still going on knowing them. So Lou, your aunt, lives in the city of Melbourne and your mum is down near Geelong. And so they did an art challenge. So I think once a week, a group of them would be set to task to do a vase or a still life or birds or whatever it was. Your mum ended up doing it left-handed because she'd had an operation on her right hand.
Of course, she went through surgery during COVID.
Right. But as typical with your creative mum, she was able to pull out an amazing painting of owls, I think it was, left-handed. And that was really nice because your mum and your aunt are so close and they see each other so much. And they've just been able to see each other again last week for the first time in many months. Yeah. But again, lovely way to stay connected.
Yeah, yeah. And they had a lot of fun doing it too. And I think I looked at their art on Instagram and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It is. Another way, I'm not sure how this would work, though I like the idea of it. Another idea is to do an exercise program together. Because, you can... I was doing this for some time until, of course, I threw my back out. I was doing exercise classes from YouTube. So, don't you laugh at me.
Are you sure it was exercising?
I was down here in the room doing... What? I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just going to ignore that comment. So I was down here trying all sorts of different exercises. I did Bollywood one time. I think I did cheerleading. I did African dance until finally the back went, and that was it. But
yeah.
But anyway, that's beside my point. Apparently you can invite a friend to do yoga or exercise video with you while you're on a video call together. So I'm not sure how you do it, but you could do that.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure.
could probably do it old school because you've got everyone seems to have smart TVs these days. So you could probably go to the same YouTube thing and
click
press
play
at
together,
the same time,
right.
and you've got your telephone, well, your telephone, your cell
FaceTime,
phone.
whatever. Yeah, I reckon that would be quite hilarious. Do like a little dance exercise together, especially if that was maybe a thing that you used to do when you were physically together. That might be fun to sort of bring it all around so you could do it again.
Yeah, because we're saying, what if you can't get home for Christmas? How do you stay connected?
Yeah.
And yeah, that'd be a fine thing to do. I probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't either. But it's an idea, but it might work for some people.
You know, it's exactly what works for some, doesn't work for others.
That's right. One of the things I think of that brings home most to you are, things that are like sense memories, whether it's taste, smell, sound. The sound of a kookaburra for me in America, if I would hear that sound of a kookaburra, I was transported immediately back home. And I still to this day, if I hear a kookaburra, it delights me so much. So playing kookaburra sounds might help.
A magpie song.
Love it.
Right.
Yep. Love it. And then I know you and I would, one of the houses that we lived in LA actually had a lemon scented tea tree out the front of it.
That was amazing.
And that was we used to crush those leaves up and go, oh, it's Australia. It's the smell of Australia.
Well, when you mentioned UCLA before, I used to spend a lot of time at UCLA swimming in the pool up there and playing tennis up there. That campus is surrounded by lemon-scented gum trees. And I remember when it used to rain, and so rarely in Los Angeles, when it rained or, with a morning dew or something like that, you have the smell of the lemon-scented gums, eucalyptus trees. And it was bizarre. Close your eyes and then you're home,
Yeah, because rain on a gum leaf or gum trees that's something special.
Yeah, it's a beautiful aroma.
Yeah.
And distinctly Australian, but then they're in South Africa too, so,
Yeah, though to me it's very distinctly Australian, the gum trees,
But if you're an Aussie in South Africa and you can't get home, go and find a lemon-scented tea tree, a lemon-scented gum tree and scrunch it up and you'll be back in the bush.
Yeah, exactly. One thing we also used to do when we would get homesick in America is there was an online food company. I think it was actually just called the Australian Food Store, the Australian something or other. I can't remember.
If you Google meat pie or something.
Yeah, Aussie food. And they were actually a company out of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And they had all the treats that we grew up with. Not that our kids grew up with, but all the treats that we grew up with. And I remember making like little gift boxes to ourselves that had the Cheezels. The kids' first taste of Cheezels was in America. Monte Carlos, Kingston's, my two faves. What else would we get?
There was Violet Crumbles.
Barbecue shapes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, all those distinct Aussie foods.
Be like, oh yeah, you taste that. Oh yeah, I have this. Oh
yeah,
so funny.
And they do that. Like they have that. I know I've noticed it here. Obviously when you go to Woolies, there's the British section, Indian section, Mexican section, and I noticed they obviously have some foods from the country of origin.
Yes,
and They never had that in America, though. You could order it from this place.
You could, and I remember when we first arrived in LA, Olivia Newton-John had that shop on Melrose, and she had Vegemite and things like that in there, which was great. And then that all closed down.
Yep.
But there was, if you're in LA, I think Cost Plus World Market, they have a lot of Aussie stuff in there.
They do,
including Tim Tams.
Yeah.
Not known as Tim Tams.
Really?
They're known as something else. Yeah.
Tom Toms? Pim Pams?
I don't know.
Lim Lambs.
Cam Cams.
Cam Cams. It's got to be that.
Kim Cams.
Oh dear. Look, I do feel for you out there if you are feeling homesick. We spent so many Christmases away from our family, living overseas, and I remember, we would call up on Christmas Day and you'd hear everyone in the background and it'd be hot. We'd be somewhat cold.
Fire.
Yeah, in front of the fire. And, you make the best of what you got, though. It can be rough, and we're just trying to send you some ideas and send you some love.
You've got time. You've got a bit of time.
Yeah.
It's not, obviously, we're still a ways away from, I think it's 5 or 6, well, whenever you hear this, but we've got some time. If we get onto it quickly in terms of using the mail to send stuff over, like recipes is a great one as well. Mum used to send us mince pie recipes, Grandma Cornell's or Granny Henderson's, not that you know who these people are, it's the plum pudding recipe. Even lucky if you get a plum pudding sent through the mail. Probably a little late now, but anyway. But to have those sort of tastes of home is great. And if you the earlier you get onto it, the quicker you can get into it.
Yeah, some kind of tradition that reminds you of home.
Yeah.
Put the threepence in the plum pudding, like your mum and my mum do. The money in the plum pudding.
The money in the plum pudding, and who gets a cracked tooth?
Yep. Oh, what about like you create your own crackers? The crackers that you pull. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, the bonbons.
The bonbons. Maybe if it's time, you could create your own one of those and send them to whoever. And when you pull them, you've got little notes and stuff, handwritten notes.
Put some lifesavers in there.
Yeah, how about that? That would be, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
That'd be really fun to do, and that'd be a great treat on Christmas Day.
It would be a great treat.
Yeah.
I have to brainstorm what you could put in there.
Yeah. Cool.
I like a roll of lifesavers. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, cool fruits, apricot delights, anything of
Bullets,
home.
mates, teeth, musk sticks.
Not real teeth.
No, but those teeth.
Do they still
Milk
exist?
bottles.
Yeah. I don't
Mint
know.
leaves.
Yeah.
Sherbies. 20 cents a mix lollies, thanks, mate.
That's making me hungry. Oh, look, as we said, we wish you all the best if you are overseas and feeling homesick, or if you just can't get home at this time. I hope it changes. I hope the world opens up and we can travel once more and see the people that we love.
Indeed. Well said, honey.
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.